Yeah. Hi guys. So just to continue on the thought experiment, so I finished my first chapter, and in the first chapter, basically, I read about like what are the functional and non-functional requirements while designing a data-intensive application, and like the functional requirements are mostly retrieving the data, storing the data, searching the data, processing it, and the non-functional requirements like compliance, reliability, security, and various other non-functional requirements we delved deep into. And reliability, scalability, and maintainability was discussed in detail. So reliability is basically idea of handling issues, faults. So it can be hardware faults, it can be software bugs, as well as it can be human error as well. There was also a mention of a study like around only around 15 to 25% times it's basically failure at the hardware end, and it's human error is having such a big impact. Like 75% of the cases of issues in the hardware are because of the wrong configuration set up by the admin. So the the variance that we can see, that was also discussed in detail. And for the scalability part, it was discussed like what do we mean by scale up and scale out. Scale up is basically vertical scaling with more powerful systems. Scale out means basically horizontal scaling with multiple systems. And there were different problem statements discussed. Example of Twitter was given, like how we can handle the home screen and the tweets, how we can store it, like and like there can be two cases. First is like to store in a table, and once the tweet is written by someone, it will be coming into a table, and there will be a join on the basis of people who you follow, and tweets from them we can fetch it out. So this was the first approach. Second approach can be like we can have a, for each user we can have a individual cache, and as uh, we can have an individual cache, and it will automatically be pre-built, and whenever somebody scrolls through its home timeline, you will be able to see. But the second approach is obviously faster, but in case of people who have millions of followers, writing out the same content in multiple times in cache is not very optimum approach. So what the Twitter eventually did is like it took a hybrid approach where it stored the tweets for the people, very famous people in their tables, and at the read time it can be fetched. And for the normal people, it was already directly being stored in the cache because there is limited number of repeatability of that information. And there was then discussed on the topic of maintainability, like how we can maintain it so that in future we can have the features of, like maintainability has multiple phases like operations, governance, without minimum downtime, like adding security patches. So different phases were touched upon in this first chapter. And there was also one specific mention of Amazon, like Amazon observed it, like if we have a latency of 100 milliseconds, then the sale drops by 1%. And Amazon tries to ensure 99.9% of availability because the last 1%, the 1% in the thousand that usually fails is the one who is taking the largest amount of buying, is doing the largest amount of buying. So it becomes very important to have a good experience for him. And there was also a study that which observed that 0.1 second, uh, no, 1 second of the delay leads to the 16% of the decrease in the satisfaction score. So it was also an important point. And in the second chapter, now I will be studying and will be sharing the updates soon. Thank you.